everyone. I'm Thomas Hobbes. I come to you tonight a little distraught. I had a very bad dream on last night. Spoke with a young lady. She says she's from the 2000s in America. Jacqueline has a very nice personality, but I must say a little bit naive. A little twit was the form that I got. Her stance was that we don't need government. People can govern themselves. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little far ahead of myself. One moment. But I asked her a question that I will ask you. How many of you lock your doors at night? The little twit. I was born in April 5th of 1588. In Westport, Wiltshire, England. The reason I asked you that question is because a lot of what I've done throughout my life hinged on the fact that people are just not good. And so if we were able to live in a society where people would govern themselves, we would not need, therefore, government. I basically have had a life where I've enjoyed education, philosophical, I love mathematics and science, and I was able to get a background that helped me. Unfortunately, it came a little bit, well, I guess things happen in your life that can build on things for you. At the age of 4, my father, who was a vicar at a local church, kind of showed a different type of laying on of hands, if you will, at the church by fighting another person, and he was disgraced and basically left in shame, which he abandoned me, my sister, and my brother. But I had a wealthy uncle named Francis who came to our aid, and he took me and moved me to Malmesbury. And because of his institution in my life, I would become more just and astute into Aristotle, aristocrat. He helped me. I went to regular schools and then on to private school. And then I did graduate from the University of Oxford, and along with the Magdalen Hall. So I was able to travel from England to Paris, and I worked as a tutor in my young age. Took me a long time to think of what I wanted to be when I grew up. But I have become an astute author, and I shared some of my views. As I said, for me, I think that government should be absolute. Government should control the church, they should control the state, and people themselves should give themselves to a little obedience for the liberties that government would provide for you. So I've written a few, and I brought a few of my books that I had wrote, where I kind of touched on some of these things. I wrote the man, concerning the citizen, the body, and the man. I always like to continue to think of how we as people, human nature, left to our own selves, would probably destroy ourselves. So, you give a little bit of your liberty away for the covering from your government. They protect you. And the only time I think that you should be able to denounce that authority is if they personally affected you. They said they would take your life. So it's just a little bit of inconvenience for prosperity. And one of my most common, or I would say still well-known writing pieces would be the Leviathan. If you ever read in Job 41, you can understand the characteristics of a Leviathan. A creature or character that was strong, couldn't be taken down. And that's how I personally feel the government or your rulers, the sovereign, as you will, should be. Because people, again, left to their own devices, can be rude. It's like returning to nature, if you will. We're barbaric without any civility. And I would dare to say that without government, people would be solitary. poor would be nasty, even brutish, and short, because fear of death. But I've been accused of being an atheist because some thought that I was speaking against the church, because I feel as though the church uses that power too. If you're not good, there is a burning lake of fire for you, So there is this marriage between the two, and I feel that the government should control all of it for you, and citizens should serve their government. Now, I have what I consider a social contract, which others seem to have believed with me was good, which is the origin of government. Why did we come together? We said we needed help. We wanted to be protected. And we would give up some of our liberties for that same protection. Now, how much? Again, as long as they're not threatening your life, honor them. So I also wrote about the divine right of kings, And then you, as citizens, if you complain about those you put in power because of an injury, then you yourself are the one to blame, because you did trade off some of your liberty for the help. And as Jaqueline was trying to explain, in America, they basically took what I had envisioned, except for they did have a separation of church and state, whereas the government does not control the state, but the government does control most of everything in America of what the people have given over right to. But people have rights, and they've done it basically voluntarily in an instance. And if you don't, then choose to not have police and authority and see what environment, may occur for you. Now, I am here in a bit of a dream state again, because through my life, I went to Paris. I was able to train and tutor some young stewards of the time. I trained with William Cavendish, who would become the first Earl of Devonshire. And through that relationship, I was able to travel and stay. And some of my works, as I said, became a little bit too much for the church and for those in power. So I went into exile and had to beg for my passage back to England. But I was granted that, and even paid £100 to be in an area, because many people did believe in my theories. Again, I was into science, math, and political structures, and most still would believe, as I do, that absolutism is the answer. America didn't, but it's okay. You guys are all right. I won't hold that against you. In October of 1679, and about 91 years of age, I did suffer from a bladder infection. I had never married. I never had children. And I would have a stroke, and unfortunately, on December 4th of 1679, I would pass away. But one of the last things I did say to them, those who were in attendance, was, I guess this is my great leap into the dark.